I'm literally still physically shaking.
Yeah.
Like I am actually trembling in my seat right now.
Oh, I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
my jaw has been on the floor for 12 hours.
Because usually when a reality TV season ends, you get this, this nice, neat little bow. Everyone cries, they hug, they wear some like pastel reunion dresses.
Always the pastels.
Always. And Andy Cohen asks a few semi-hard-hitting questions, and
Yeah.
they all say, "Oh, have a great summer. See you in the city."
Yeah, that did not happen here.
No, not this time. This time, Bravo decided to drop an absolute nuclear bomb on our lives. I mean, they shattered a 10-year friend group into a million microscopic pieces.
It was a complete forensic dismantling of human character.
Exactly. And now we're all just left staring at our screens, wondering what is real, what is a lie, and honestly, whether we can ever trust anyone in our own lives ever again.
Yeah.
We're talking about emotional terrorism here.
It was. I have never seen a reunion couch turn into an active interrogation room so quickly.
Babes, welcome back. We have literally been waiting for this reunion to drop, so babes, welcome.
The wine is on deck. And babes, we are seated for this one. Because babes, the drama, unmatched.
We know it's Wednesday, so if you are at work right now, babes, just take PTO. Seriously. This reunion is emotionally required viewing.
Before recording, we stopped at the little bodega near the studio and got subs. And, babes, these are actually insane.
I am fully spiraling over this sandwich right now. Like, why is it that when you get a bodega sandwich wrapped tightly in that pristine white butcher paper...
Yes, part.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they slice it diagonally, which, by the way, is the only mathematically and morally correct way to slice a sandwich.
Obviously. If it's got down the middle, I don't want it.
Right. But it suddenly feels like a Michelin star event. I am sitting here eating this turkey, provolone, and banana pepper hero like it is my last meal on earth.
It really does feel like a special occasion for absolutely no reason.
It does. There's something so profoundly healing about it.
Well, I mean, it comes down to the structural integrity of the bread, honestly. But beyond the mechanics of the sandwich, bodega food just hits differently because there is an element of pure chaos in the preparation.
Oh, total chaos.
Right, like you walk in, the fluorescent lights are buzzing, someone is yelling an order over a deli counter, and they just throw the meats and cheeses together with this beautiful, erratic energy.
It's an art form.
It is. And then you unwrap it 20 minutes later, and it's a masterpiece. It is the only honest thing left in the world.
I love that. The only honest thing left.
But the real struggle right now is trying to act like a professional, like recording a show, giving the Snark Squad top-tier audio, while I am fully mid-sandwich.
Same. I literally have a rogue breadcrumb resting on the pop filter of my microphone right now, and I refuse to move it.
It's adding texture to the audio.
I am romanticizing the crumbs.
Yeah.
It's giving like hardworking New York media professional who barely has time to eat. But seriously, if you hear me chewing, no, you didn't. You are hearing the ambient sounds of survival. Because honestly, the way the world is right now, a good sandwich is the only thing standing between me and a total psychological break.
Amen.
You take that first bite, and for exactly 4 minutes, you forget your inbox, you forget your responsibilities, and you just exist in the pure bliss of processed meats.
So, babes, before we get into the reunion chaos, we need to talk about something that happened at the dental office.
Oh my God, yes. I'm still recovering from the text messages you sent me about this. I haven't known peace since.
My 13-year-old niece came in last week for shadowing, just to see what working in a dental office is like, maybe get some inspiration for her future. And babes, we need to discuss Gen Z kids immediately.
Please, I am begging, unpack this for me.
So she shadows for one day, one single standard Tuesday. She watches me do routine cleaning, a couple of fillings, the most mundane things imaginable.
Right. Standard dental stuff.
Exactly. And then she asks if she can come back this week just to film TikToks about being a dentist. Oh my God. Wait, really?
Yes. She's not even in high school, and she's already planning a comprehensive multi-platform content strategy around a career she does not have and frankly might not even want.
I am screaming.
I am standing there in my scrubs trying to explain HIPAA laws, sterile environments, and the absolute basics of dental office professionalism. And she's just looking at me with this blank, unfazed stare like, yeah, but what if I do a POV day in the life of a dentist video and we use a trending audio of a drill sound?
I am low-key so impressed, but also highly, highly intimidated, like the blind confidence.
It's wild.
The absolute certainty that the entire world is waiting with bated breath to see her pretend to hold a suction tube while lip-syncing to a sped-up Doja Cat song.
Right.
I feel personally attacked by how much more self-assured a 13-year-old is than I will literally ever be. When I was 13, I was agonizing over my aim away message.
Oh my God, the away messages.
Yeah.
Choosing the perfect lyrics. Exactly. And she is out here directing a medical drama for the algorithm. Are we accidentally becoming part of someone's viral series? Are you going to be the grumpy, out-of-touch background character in her day-in-the-life vlog?
I am already imagining the pure chaos of going viral against my will. I can see the comments now rolling in by the thousands like, who is the boomer with the drill? Why does the background dentist look so miserable?
No, not the boomer with the drill.
I can't. I just can't. It makes me question everything about how we perceive work. My generation views work as a physical labor you endure to pay rent. Her generation views work as a set piece for a personal brand.
Wow, wait, that is so true.
It's an existential crisis wrapped in a TikTok dance.
It really is. It's like they view reality as just raw footage waiting to be edited.
Yeah.
Which is honestly a terrifying thought.
It is terrifying. We also need to talk about the highs and lows of the upcoming workday, because knowing I have to go back to that office tomorrow, potentially to star in an unauthorized TikTok, is a lot to process.
Okay, let's start with the highs, because I am emotionally hanging on by a microscopic thread, but I am romanticizing every minor inconvenience to survive.
Let's hear it.
Highs, just surviving the day, the absolute sanctity of the coffee break. The moment you step outside the clinic, the door clicks shut behind you, and you just stare at a brick wall in the alleyway while sipping an iced latte.
Pure peace.
It feels cinematic. It feels like you are the main character in a gritty indie film about burnout.
Highs also include funny coworkers keeping you sane. When you share that one specific wide-eyed look across the office when a patient says something completely unhinged.
Yes, the eye contact.
That silent shared acknowledgement of the absurd. It's a telepathic bond. And random compliments from strangers or patients, those keep the engine running.
Oh, a compliment will feed me for a week.
And that fleeting, beautiful feeling of being semi-functional before noon. When you successfully chart all your patients by 11:30 a.m. and you feel like a literal god of productivity.
Exactly. You feel invincible for about 20 minutes. But then the lows hit.
The inevitable lows.
The back-to-back exhaustion. When you look at the schedule after lunch, and there isn't a single gap, just a solid block of human mouths from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
It's a nightmare.
And technology issues that completely ruin the flow. Like when the x-ray machine won't sync with the computer and you have to just stand there making agonizing, painful small talk with someone who has a plastic bite wing shoved in their mouth.
Pretending to be energetic is the ultimate low. Having to deploy the customer service voice when your soul is profoundly tired.
Oh, the voice. It physically hurts to do.
You dial your pitch up 2 octaves and say, open wide, when all you really want to do is lie face down on the linoleum floor. By lunch, I am legitimately questioning all of my life choices.
Every single one.
I am one inconvenience, one jammed printer, one dropped mirror, one patient arriving 15 minutes late and throwing off the entire afternoon, away from disappearing permanently.
It's walking into the ocean.
I regularly dream of quitting dentistry altogether, moving to a quiet beach town in the Carolinas, and selling something simple, like maybe just opening a shack that sells one type of overpriced lemonade. No options. Just lemon, water, sugar. Take it or leave it.
I would visit your lemonade shack every single day. I'd be your best customer. I'd sit on a little wooden stool and complain about reality TV.
You'd be the VIP.
But until we can secure the funding for the shack, we have to survive. Okay, babes, we need to dive into this reunion because so much happened.
We do. Today, we are analyzing the raw footage, the social media timestamps, and the profound psychological fallout of the Summer House reunion to figure out exactly how a 10-year friend group dissolves overnight.
I am so ready.
Let's set the scene. April 23rd, 2026. The cast arrives for the taping, and the pre-reunion delusion is off the charts. First of all, we have to talk about the fashion, because fashion at a reality TV reunion is never just clothing. It is psychological armor.
100%. It sets the tone.
They all showed up dressed for a funeral, but like a high-fashion revenge funeral. Lindsay Hubbard walks in wearing this swooping, structural, cherry red dress, looking exactly like modern Marilyn Monroe. Absolute perfection. It screamed power, dominance, and survival.
Ciara Miller, I literally gasped. I had to pause the TV and just take it in. She came in this Tyla-esque fringe skirt and beaded bra top.
Stunning.
She looked like she was ready to step on a red carpet, win a Grammy, and ruin a man's entire lineage all at the same time. The confidence radiating off of her was lethal.
It was palpable.
And then you have Amanda Batula. She walks in wearing this butter yellow gown with these soft corset details, and we really need to unpack that color choice.
Oh, we do.
Butter yellow is the color of passivity. It's the color of innocence. It's the color of please don't yell at me. Everyone is giving high fashion, high space. And then we get to the dressing rooms.
The dressing room absurdity. Bravo really pulled back the curtain here, which is a masterstroke of producing. We see Wes Wilson and Amanda completely isolated in their own shared dressing room, sequestered away from the rest of the cast.
Co-isolated.
And this is where the delusion peaks. Wes leans over, gives Amanda this weird, overly familiar boyfriend kiss on the forehead and says, "I feel zen."
I screamed at my television. I actually threw my throw pillow at the screen.
I don't blame you.
Zen. You feel zen. You just blew up a 10-year friend group, humiliated your situationship on national television, caused a seismic shift in everyone's lives, betrayed the man who literally gave you a platform, and you are feeling zen.
Oh, it's wild.
It makes my skin crawl. It just shows how entirely disconnected he is from the emotional wreckage he left behind.
Yeah.
How can you be at peace when everyone around you is in shambles because of your actions?
Because it is the pinnacle of toxic chill guy behavior. We have to analyze the psychology of the chill guy for a second.
Yes, please break this down.
Men like West use chillness as a weapon. They weaponize being laid back so that anyone who has a completely normal emotional reaction to their bad behavior looks crazy or dramatic by comparison.
Oh my God, that is so true.
It's insane to claim you're zen when you are the architect of the chaos. He isn't actually zen. He's profoundly dissociated. Acknowledging the reality of the pain he caused would shatter his ego, so he retreats into this false, meditative state of unbothered coolness.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go ahead.
Isn't there a world where he was actually just meditating or trying to self-soothe because he was terrified? Like maybe Zen was just his defense mechanism, his way of pumping himself up before walking into a slaughterhouse, and not a calculated insult to the people he hurt? Could it just be a guy who is utterly in over his head trying to not have a panic attack on camera?
That is a very generous interpretation, and normally I would entertain it, but we have to look at the context of his behavior across the entire season.
Fair point.
If you are genuinely terrified and remorseful, you don't confidently kiss your new girlfriend and declare your peace. You pace the room. You rehearse your apologies. You look visibly burdened by the weight of your choices. Declaring you feel zen is a performance of invulnerability.
Yeah, you're right. It's a performance.
It's him telling the cameras, nothing they say out there can touch me. But karma is incredibly fast because right before he steps onto that stage, right before the cameras officially start rolling on the couch, Wes gets a notification on his phone.
Well, here we go.
His phone has been hacked and his intimate nudes are actively leaking onto the internet.
Stop. I cannot even handle the flaccid leak. I am physically squirming in my seat just thinking about it.
Backstage, Jesse Solomon already has the photos on his phone. The entire male cast has seen them in their group chats. And West's very first question, his immediate panicked reaction to realizing his most private, intimate photos are circulating among his peers is, am I hard?
The mortification.
Yeah.
The absolute unparalleled cringe of a flaccid leak serving as the warm-up act to your public skewering.
You couldn't write it.
Imagine the adrenaline, the sheer panic. You are about to walk out onto a stage where your ex and your former best friends are literally sharpening their knives to eviscerate your character. And your pregame ritual is finding out the whole world is analyzing your soft anatomy. It is so deeply humiliating.
It's karmic retribution in its purest form. And his question, am I hard, reveals everything about the narcissism of the male ego.
400%.
In a moment where his privacy has been grossly violated, a moment that should invoke feelings of profound vulnerability and fear of exposure, his primary concern is a performance review by the internet.
He just wants to know if he looks good. It's so gross.
Exactly. He isn't worried about the breach of privacy. He's worried about his aesthetic reputation. It perfectly encapsulates his entire personality, obsessed with optics, entirely disconnected from the gravity of reality. But to fully understand why Wes and Amanda were facing a firing squad on that stage, we have to go back. We have to rewind to the moment the grenade actually went off. The cinematic perfection of the joint statement fallout on March 31st.
Yes. Because Bravo producers are actual geniuses. They deserve Emmy Awards for this.
Truly.
They caught the raw, unedited fallout on camera because the cast just happened to be filming their spin-off confessionals that exact same day. The stars aligned to give us the most authentic reaction to a betrayal in reality TV history.
It was like watching a war room command center mobilize the second a nuke dropped. We see the exact moment the illusion shatters. Lindsay is sitting in full glam in front of a green screen, mid-interview.
Looking gorgeous, by the way.
Always. And Cooke, who is currently separated from Amanda, calls Lindsay from another room in the exact same building. He reads the joint statement that Amanda and West just posted on Instagram.
Just out of nowhere.
A highly stylized, perfectly crafted PR statement confirming their romantic relationship. A statement that absolutely neither of them warned anyone about.
The phones start lighting up. You can hear the buzzing. Jesse Solomon patches in from a car. Mia Calabrese patches into this massive, chaotic group call.
It was insane to watch.
Carl walks into Kyle's room to listen in over his shoulder. It was raw, unfiltered shock rippling through the cast. You were watching people process betrayal in real time.
You really are.
And seeing this raw footage makes you completely reject Amanda's entire narrative that she tries to spin later on the couch. She tries to claim, oh, we were just figuring out our feelings. We didn't want to say anything until we knew what it was.
Such a lie.
Babes, how do you claim you were just figuring out your feelings when you sit down, draft a sterile 500-word PR statement, coordinate the graphic design, and blast it to 1 million followers without giving your best friend or your actual husband a single heads up?
You don't. It is fundamentally impossible to be casually figuring things out while simultaneously executing a synchronized global media drop. It was calculated. It was a hostile takeover of the narrative. Amanda and West knew that if they told Kyle or Ciara privately, they would have to face the immediate, messy, emotional consequences of their actions.
And they're terrified of confrontation.
Exactly. By releasing a public statement, they bypass the human element of accountability. They force their friends to react as an audience rather than as a community. It is a deeply cowardly way to handle interpersonal conflict.
Coward behavior.
And that brings us to the couch, where Ciara Miller decides she isn't just bringing anger, she's bringing undeniable, time-stamped, mathematically sound receipts.
Ciara was operating like a forensic accountant, auditing a bankrupt company. She wasn't just yelling. She was mathematically proving a deficit of trust. She brought the ledger, and the ledger was in the red.
Let's break down the timeline lies, because this is where the house of cards collapses, and we really get to the psychology of lying by omission.
I have my notes ready.
Ciara reveals that her suspicions actually started way back on January 17th. Ciara was trying to invite Amanda out for casual drinks with Mia. Amanda completely ignores the calls and texts for 30 minutes.
Classic dodging.
So Ciara, like any good friend doing a wellness check, and let's be real, any millennial woman with Find My Friends activated, checks her location sharing app. Where is the blue dot?
There is it, Jay.
It's at West's apartment during the Rams versus Bears playoff game.
And we have to talk about the modern ethics of location tracking for a second.
Oh, let's do it.
Having someone's location on your phone is the ultimate digital trust fall. It is a silent agreement that says, I am safe and you know where I am.
Right.
When you look at that app and see your friend's avatar sitting in the apartment of the man who broke your heart, the specific anxiety of seeing that blue dot where it shouldn't be is paralyzing.
It's a gut punch.
And Amanda's excuse on the couch. Amanda tries to say, oh, I didn't reply because I was busy watching the game and I only answered when Mia made a group chat. No, babes. You intentionally turned off your location tracking right after that.
Analytically speaking, turning off your location sharing with your best friends while you are secretly hanging out with one of their exes is the absolute definition of covering your tracks.
Absolutely.
You only hide your location if you know you are somewhere you shouldn't be. You are acknowledging guilt without speaking it. Amanda was actively, continuously lying by omission for months. She was engaging in a slow drip betrayal, hoping that by the time the truth came out, the statute of limitations on their anger would have expired.
But the omission turns into a direct, point-blank lie in March. Ciara pulls out her phone on the reunion stage and reads the texts aloud to the entire room.
The gasp I let out.
When the rumors first started leaking online on those gossip blogs, Amanda texted Ciara, preemptively playing the victim, saying, oh, people are being psychos online. We are just friends. Don't believe the noise.
Preemptive damage control.
But Ciara is smart. Ciara didn't let it go. Ciara texted back, explicitly asking for absolute, undeniable clarity. She gave her a multiple-choice question to eliminate any gray area. She asked, "Have you and West hooked up, made out, held hands under the table, or had sex?"
And Amanda replied with one word, correct, meaning correct. We have not done any of those things.
And then, on the reunion stage, faced with the physical evidence of her own text message projected for everyone to see, Amanda finally breaks. She drops her head and admits, "I lied. I 100% lied."
Chilling.
Babes, the emotional damage of looking your best friend in the eye or typing it directly to her and lying point blank, it permanently destroys the foundation of reality. I was spiraling.
It's an ultimate betrayal.
How do you ever recover a friendship from that? When someone lies to you at that level of ease, you stop trusting them, but worse, you stop trusting your own intuition.
Exactly. It causes a complete reality fracture for the person being lied to. And what is most insidious is Amanda's attempt to immediately pivot and play the victim right after admitting it.
The nerve.
She acts like she was cornered into lying, as if Ciara's simple, direct question was somehow an act of aggression that forced her hand. It is incredibly manipulative. It is Darvo deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Yep. Textbook Darvo.
But the lies don't stop with the text messages. We have to discuss the most insulting, logically incoherent lie of the entire reunion. The claim about when they finally had sex.
I am rejecting this timeline entirely. I refuse to accept it on behalf of anyone with a working brain.
Amanda and Wes sit on that couch under the studio lights and claim with a straight face that their first kiss was on March 1st after a group brunch. Fine, plausible.
Barely.
But then they claim that they did not have sex until after the March 31st joint statement was released.
Make it make sense. Because the math is not mathing.
It doesn't make sense.
Ah.
It is an absurd, completely fabricated timeline. You are telling me you two drafted a global relationship announcement, weathered intense public backlash, detonated a 10-year friend group, and finalized the destruction of a marriage all before you ever slept together? You released a solemn corporate PR statement for a PG-13 holding hands romance.
Okay, wait. I have to play devil's advocate again just to see all sides.
Good luck with this one.
Is it completely out of the realm of possibility that they were genuinely trying to be traditional? Like, what if they really wanted to build a solid emotional foundation before sleeping together because they knew how messy the situation was? What if Amanda, coming out of a divorce, wanted to be absolutely sure West was committed before crossing that physical line?
If this were a Hallmark movie, I would agree with you. But these are reality television stars in their mid-30s living in New York City. The sociological reality of their environment does not support a month-long courtship of chaste hand-holding while simultaneously blowing up their social ecosystem.
Okay, that's fair.
Furthermore, people tell easily disprovable lies like this because they are trying to minimize their perceived depravity. They think if they admit they were sleeping together the whole time, it makes the betrayal dirty. So they invent a timeline where the romance was pure and emotional before it became physical to soften the blow.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It's totally about image.
It's reputation management, not truth. Nobody believes that. Why would you release a joint statement with someone you've only kissed? It's a bad lie. And they looked so incredibly defensive when nobody on the couch believed them. But then the real kicker, Andy Cohen, brings up the secret prequel girlfriend.
Ender Maja, the woman who styled West's tie for his appearance on Watch What Happens Live. The gasping that happened in my living room when Andy dropped this name.
Andy reveals that Wes was actually seeing Maja right before things supposedly turned romantic with Amanda. In fact, Andy pulls the receipts showing that West was actively sleeping with Maja the night before he went on live television and explicitly denied having any romantic feelings for Amanda.
West was juggling multiple women, completely misleading everyone about his dating timeline, manipulating every single situation to keep his nice guy, teddy bear image intact.
He's a maestro of manipulation.
He wanted the public to view him as this bumbling, harmless guy who just couldn't figure out love, while off camera, he is running a highly coordinated roster. And the absolute worst part, Amanda knew about Maja.
That was the most shocking part.
Amanda sits on the couch and openly admits she knew he was seeing her, she knew he slept with her the night before WWHL, but she pursued him anyway.
Which perfectly sets up Mia Calabrese for the most devastating, analytical, culturally significant read of the entire night.
Oh, give it to me. I need to hear it again.
Mia, who has been quietly observing this entire train wreck, looks dead at Amanda, completely unbothered, and asks, "Why are you doing this to yourself? You went from being married to being one of West Side bitches."
Screaming. I was literally on my feet in my living room. I knocked over my glass of Pinot Grigio.
A tragedy for the wine.
The visceral hype I felt for Mia in that exact moment. It was unapologetic. It was surgical in its precision, and it was brutally, undeniably true.
It was poetry.
Amanda left a decade-long marriage where she constantly, endlessly complained about Kyle's immaturity and lack of focus, only to actively downgrade her life to being a placeholder in West's rotation of secret late-night hookups. Mia delivered that line with zero hesitation. She didn't yell, she didn't scream, she just stated a fact.
Mia was the unexpected hero in that moment.
Yeah.
It was a masterclass in holding up a mirror to someone's self-deception. And we really have to talk about how the newbies absolutely brought the heat and the heart to this reunion, because it wasn't just the veterans doing the heavy lifting. The rookies came to play, and they fundamentally shifted the power dynamics of the cast.
Bailey Taylor. Can we please talk about Bailey obliterating Ben Waddell? Because I have been waiting to unpack this.
We must. Ben clearly thought he was going to skate by at this reunion. He walked onto the set with this relaxed, above-it-all posture.
So smug.
He thought he was going to skate by on his accent, his height, and his supposed charm. He assumed he was the voice of reason. But Andy brings up Bailey's poorly timed joke from the middle of the summer, and the entire situation detonates.
It went up in flames.
Bailey does not back down for a single second. She calls out Ben's deeply ingrained systemic hypocrisy. She points out that Ben spent the entire summer reprimanding the women in the house, constantly policing their tone, acting deeply offended and angry at them for minor infractions, while giving the men in the house a total unquestioned pass for literal screaming matches.
And she exposed that he was hiding his actual real-life girlfriend, Sabrina, all summer. He was acting like this available, concerned bachelor, judging everyone else's messy dating lives while secretly texting a girlfriend off camera.
Complete hypocrisy.
But the absolute best part was when Ben tried to deflect. He gets flustered, and he tries to compare his quiet, seething anger towards the girls to Carl yelling at Kyle during the finale. He thought it was a brilliant counter-argument. Bailey snaps back instantly. Without skipping a beat, he wasn't yelling at me, "A woman, you jackass."
It was magnificent. Ben is the textbook archetype of weaponized concern.
Wait, say more about that.
It's a specific type of misogyny where a man uses therapy speak or acts concerned for a woman's well-being as a disguise for policing her behavior. I'm just worried about how you're coming across translates to stop acting in a way that displeases me.
Wow. Yes, that is exactly what he was doing.
Bailey saw right through it. It was a masterclass in holding someone accountable for their underlying biases. Ben was completely flayed. He had nowhere to hide. His entire good guy persona was dismantled in under 2 minutes.
I was cheering for her.
But the newbies didn't just bring conflict. They brought incredible grounding vulnerability. We need to shift the tone for a second and talk about KJ Dillard's segment.
KJ. Oh my gosh, this brought genuine tears to my eyes. It grounded the entire episode and completely reframed the stakes of what we were watching.
Amidst all the screaming, the timeline auditing, and the relationship drama, KJ opens up about what happened after filming wrapped in the fall of 2025. He revealed that his mental health took a severe, terrifying downturn as the pressure of the show and his own internal struggles collided.
It was so heartbreaking to hear.
He experienced intense thoughts of self-harm and ultimately had to make the brave decision to check into a psychiatric hospital for a week.
And he was so brave in sharing his actual diagnosis on national television.
Yeah.
Borderline personality disorder, BPD. He explained how getting that diagnosis, finally having a name for the chaos he felt inside, helped him understand his lifelong pattern of running away from issues instead of facing them.
It was incredibly powerful.
He spent months in an intensive outpatient recovery facility. He looked directly at the camera, tears in his eyes, and said, "I'm grateful that I'm here alive because I could have not been." It gives me chills just repeating it.
It instantly snaps you back to reality. It's so easy to view these people as avatars for our entertainment, but these are real people with real life or death stakes. Reality television is an environment designed to exacerbate instability. It rewards erratic behavior. So for him to navigate that, hit rock bottom, and come out the other side with that level of self-awareness is profound.
It really is.
And the most beautiful part of that revelation, the part that truly ties the thematic narrative of the season together, was learning how the cast rallied around him. He specifically named Ciara and Mia, noting that they visited him in the hospital almost every single day.
True friendships. It just shows the stark contrast in human behavior. It is the perfect juxtaposition.
Exactly.
You have Ciara and Mia, two women who had their own drama, showing up daily in a psychiatric hospital for a new friend, sitting in those sterile waiting rooms, bringing him snacks, proving their loyalty and love when cameras are absolutely nowhere to be found.
And then look at the other side.
Right. And then you have Amanda lying directly to Ciara's face about hooking up with her ex just to protect her own image. It highlights the ultimate fractured friendship. The juxtaposition is jarring. Which brings us to the absolute climax of the episode.
Ciara's final blows. The pressure on the couch reaches a boiling point. The entire cast, armed with the knowledge of the timeline lies, the secret girlfriend, and the blatant disrespect, has completely turned on West and Amanda. And Ciara unleashes a monologue that will go down in reality TV history. It will be studied in sociology classes.
She looked right at Amanda, her voice completely steady, and said, "I'm glad you can say our name this time." A direct reference to Amanda ignoring her all summer.
A perfect callback.
And then she delivered the strike. "You're a snake in the grass.
Yeah.
You move silent, and you're effing deadly."
She turns her attention to Wes, and she doesn't yell. She dissects him. "You're the most fraudulent person here. You live a different life on camera than off camera." But it's her closing thesis that is the true analytical kill shot of the decade.
Oh, I was shaking during this part.
Ciara explains exactly, psychologically, why West and Amanda work as a couple. She says they work because Amanda is mute. Because Amanda won't check him on anything. Amanda will be the weak figure that West desperately needs so that he can always be the star, the loud one, the untouchable center of the relationship.
The weak figure monologue. It was devastating because it was so terrifyingly accurate. It completely stripped away their carefully curated rom-com narrative and exposed the toxic, codependent foundation of their dynamic.
It really did.
She laid out their entire psychological profile in 3 sentences. Amanda couldn't take it. The truth was too bright. She completely breaks down, starts hyperventilating, her chest is heaving, and she flees the stage in a full-blown panic attack.
The walk-off. It's a classic reality TV trope, but what happens next is what truly seals West's fate in the eyes of the group and the audience. Amanda runs off crying, completely losing her composure, and West does absolutely nothing.
Nothing. He is paralyzed. He just sits there, frozen on the couch, looking like a sad, confused puppy with wide eyes. His girlfriend, the woman he just blew up his entire life for, is having a massive panic attack off camera, and he does not move a single muscle. He just blinks.
Because it validates everything Ciara just said in her monologue. He isn't a protector. He isn't a true partner. He is a guy who likes the idea of a relationship when it serves his ego, but the moment it requires actual emotional labor or defending his partner against valid criticism, he completely shuts down.
He just checks out entirely.
It's called status quo maintenance. He freezes, hoping the threat will just pass so he doesn't have to expend any energy dealing with it. And Lindsay Hubbard, who has been boiling over this entire time, finally loses it. She screams at him across the room, her voice echoing in the studio. "Get up and go after her, West. Be an effing man."
The fury. Lindsay was the voice of the audience in that exact moment. We were all screaming it at our screens. And the contrast of what is happening backstage makes West's paralysis even crazier.
The juxtaposition is wild.
While West is being a complete coward on the couch, Kyle Cooke, the man Amanda just left, the man she blindsided with a PR statement, is backstage having this incredibly tender, graceful, heartbreaking moment with Ciara.
Kyle had defended Amanda on stage despite them being separated, and despite the immense pain she caused him, he stepped up and showed protective instincts when her new boyfriend wouldn't.
It was so sad to watch.
And backstage, Ciara approaches Kyle and apologizes to him for misunderstanding his behavior all summer. She admits she didn't realize he was bottoming out emotionally before his marriage collapsed. She realizes that his erratic behavior was a symptom of a man losing his wife. It was this moment of genuine, profound healing between two people who were deeply, deeply hurt by the exact same situation. It was beautiful.
It was so heavy. It was real life bleeding through the reality TV filter. Okay, babes, we need to break this down even further. Welcome to segment 1, biggest reunion energy switch up. Who do you think completely flipped their script from the beginning of the episode to the end?
For me, it's a dead tie between Amanda Batula and Ben Waddell. But let's start with Amanda, because her pivot was whiplash-inducing.
Oh, she spun around so fast.
She entered the reunion with this heavily rehearsed, PR-trained posture. She explicitly stated in her opening remarks that she was there to own up to what she'd done, take her lashes, and apologize, especially to Ciara and Kyle. She wanted to play the contrite, reformed woman.
Yes, the soft, sad voice.
But the second Ciara actually held her feet to the fire and demanded real answers, that contrition vanished entirely.
It completely evaporated.
Yeah.
It was gone in 60 seconds.
It instantly pivoted to intense, aggressive defensiveness. When she got cornered by the undeniable proof of her own text message lies, she threw her hands up in the air, her voice cracked, and she whined, I'm not allowed to pursue something that I feel strongly about.
Ugh, the victim playing.
It completely contradicted her opening apology. It revealed the core truth. She wasn't actually sorry for what she did. She was just sorry she was getting yelled at. She activated this sudden, desperate victim arc, trying to make the rest of the couch feel bad for her because Ciara was accurately reading her for filth.
It's so transparent. It is the ultimate manipulation tactic. You can't claim you want to take accountability, sit there nodding solemnly, and then immediately play the victim when people actually hold you accountable for the things you just admitted to. You don't get to be the villain and the victim in the same storyline. And Ben did the exact same thing.
Ben is the textbook definition of an energy switch-up. He walked onto that set so incredibly relaxed, probably thinking he was just going to be the charming background guy who occasionally offered a witty British one-liner.
Right, Mr. Innocent.
He thought he was going to skate by on his accent and his height. He thought he was untouchable.
He really did. He had this smug little smile. And then Bailey deployed the metaphorical guillotine. Ben went from cheeky bloke offering friendly advice to a defensive, stuttering hypocrite in 60 seconds flat.
It was so fast.
When she called him out for his anger toward women, you could literally see the panic flash in his eyes. The facade cracked. He tried to change the narrative, tried to blame Carl's yelling, tried to act like he was just a concerned friend looking out for the girls. But Bailey didn't let him breathe. She held him to his own standards, and he crumbled.
Exactly. He couldn't handle the mirror being turned around. Which transitions us thematically right into segment 2, who's still mad and pretending not to be. And the undeniable, undisputed winner of this category is West Wilson.
The absolute king of pretending he doesn't care. The mayor of Unbothered City, population 0, because it's all a lie.
If you analyze his body language throughout the entire 3-part episode, it is a clinical masterclass in cognitive dissonance. He played the fun, lovable, harmless teddy bear all season, the guy who wears funny hats, eats snacks, and doesn't take anything too seriously.
Total act.
But on that couch, he sat grimacing. His jaw was clenched so tight, I thought his teeth were going to shatter. His shoulders were hiked up to his ears. He couldn't string a single coherent sentence together when challenged by anyone.
He was squirming. He was literally vibrating with anxiety. He claimed he was zen in the dressing room, but he was actively, internally panicking the entire time. First, he's panicking about his leaked nudes, which, again, karma's a beautiful thing. But then he's panicking about Ciara's public, articulate evisceration of his character. He realized in real time that his nice guy armor was completely gone.
He was entirely incapable of speaking up for himself or for Amanda. And it's something we see constantly in real life, which makes it so frustrating to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
We all know toxic guys who use the chill, laid-back guy act to mask their absolute cowardice. They act like they are completely above the drama, like they are too enlightened to engage in conflict. But when they are actually caught, cornered, and confronted with the real-world consequences of their actions, the chill act drops immediately, and they just freeze in absolute terror. They literally do not have the emotional vocabulary or the intellectual stamina to defend themselves.
I know 3 guys exactly like this right now in my personal life. They pretend everything is good vibes only. They constantly say it is what it is until you sit them down and ask them a direct, pointed question about their unacceptable behavior, and then they completely short-circuit. They either stare at the wall or they mumble some excuse and leave the room. It's pathetic. It's the weakest form of masculinity.
Which brings us to segment 3, most likely to text the group chat after this. This is an incredibly easy prediction. The absolute second Annie Cohen said, "That's a wrap," the cameras turned off, and they got into the back of their black SUVs. Lindsay Hubbard and Jesse Solomon were absolutely setting their respective group chats on fire. The data usage on their phones must have spiked.
Lindsay is 100% drafting a multi-paragraph bulleted list breaking down every single moment of West's failure to go after Amanda. I can vividly picture her sitting in the back of her car, still in her red dress, furiously typing in all caps. He didn't even stand up. He just blinked. I told you he was trash.
Lindsay is the undisputed 5-star general of the group chat. She operates with military precision. But here is a secondary, much deeper spiral theory for you regarding post-reunion behavior. Wes absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, has a burner account on Instagram and Reddit.
Oh, babes, you know he does. He probably has 3.
Because he was entirely too cowardly to defend himself or his girlfriend to anyone's face on the couch, he is definitely in the Instagram comments right now. He is posing as a random fan named something innocuous like, Bravo fan 456 or sports guy 88, and he is fiercely arguing with teenage girls in the comment section of reality TV blogs, typing out long paragraphs. Like, actually, if you really look at the timeline, I think Wes is just misunderstood. Amanda is lucky to have a guy who is so zen.
West is a good guy. He was just overwhelmed by Ciara's aggression. The timeline proves nothing. I am screaming because that is so painfully accurate to his psychological profile. He is a keyboard warrior because he physically cannot handle face-to-face confrontation. He needs the safety of the screen. Okay, final segment before we wrap this emotional marathon. Segment 4, what should have stayed unsaid?
We have to highlight the most cringe, unnecessary, or overly revealing moments of the night. The moments that made us want to sink into our couches. And unfortunately for Wes, we have to revisit the green room. When a producer or a castmate pulls you aside to tell you that your most intimate photos have been hacked and leaked online for millions of people to see, asking, "Am I hard?" should have permanently forever stayed locked inside the deepest recesses of your brain.
I am physically uncomfortable just revisiting the memory of it. It is so deeply, viscerally embarrassing. You are on national television. There are boom mics recording your every breath. Have a singular modicum of shame. Have 1 ounce of self-preservation.
It reveals everything about the fragility of his ego. He wasn't immediately worried about his privacy being violated. His first and only concern was his physical performance review by the internet. It's the ultimate exposure of male vanity.
It's vile. It really is. But for me, the absolute winner of what should have stayed unsaid was Amanda's text message.
Correct.
Yes, the single word that ended a decade of friendship. When Ciara explicitly gave her an out, Ciara asked the hardest question a friend can possibly ask. She laid her pride on the line to ask for the truth. And Amanda could have stayed silent. She could have ignored the text like she ignored the phone calls. She could have called her the next day and said, "This is too complicated for text. We need to meet up and talk." But typing out the word correct to definitively, aggressively lie to her face, it was completely unnecessary.
It was so cruel.
It wasn't just a cowardly lie of omission anymore. It was an active, aggressive, proactive lie. It was a choice to deceive, and it permanently destroyed their friendship. She should have never, ever sent that text.
It was the text that burned the bridge to the ground. It poured gasoline on the relationship and lit the match. And now, after this reunion, they're all just left standing in the ashes, trying to figure out how to breathe the smoke.
Babes, I need a nap, a massive glass of water, and probably another bodega sandwich just to physically and emotionally recover from this recording. Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out with us.
We want to know from you. Who was the most delusional at the reunion? Who do you think is secretly still texting their ex? What is your absolute go-to bodega order? Would you ever do a reality TV reunion? And which summer house moment made you scream at your TV?
Remind to like, comment, subscribe.
Stay messy, stay delusional, and we will see you on the Snark side.
Yeah.
But seriously, before you go, think about this. If Amanda was willing to lie so effortlessly and coldly to the friend who supported her through an entire divorce, what is she currently lying to West about? The foundation is built on sand, babes. See you next week.